In hardware, the first two questions every boss or product manager has to answer are which market are we serving and what features are we building? But even if you get both of those right, the challenges are only just beginning. Hello everyone and welcome to the JetPave launch. Dream bigger, design smarter. Today, we present JetPave, an AI-native end-to-end hardware innovation platform. From idea to delivery, what traditionally took 10 days in typical scenarios now takes only 90 minutes. Now this is not just a generic AI agent. JetPave unifies market, product, hardware engineering, manufacturing, and supply chain through 5 specialized agent clusters, driven by shared goals, not by fragmented group chats. Here with me today, please welcome Product Manager Chen Tianran and Technical Lead Cai Xiongjiang to give us a detailed introduction.
Hello everyone, I'm Chen Tianran, Product Manager of JetPave. Our product aims to give one person the power of a whole team and the team the vision of an ecosystem. It connects market, function, design, manufacturing, and delivery into one seamless flow, faster, more accurate, and more reliable.
So how can we actually build these capabilities?
Well, you can imagine a world where anyone can turn the hardware ideas in their mind into real board design in 90 minutes. You just need to provide your target audience and price range for your product. And JetPave will first generate market insights and a business feasibility analysis. Then, it will translate them into clear functional definition and PCB circuit design. At the design stage, it will flag the procurement, DFM, and compliance. So questions like, can it be mass-produced or can it be delivered on time are no longer a problem.
More importantly, JetPave creates not just design drawings, but a complete solution of design can be made. Every generated design is a commercial product that can be sold, manufactured, delivered, and cost optimized. This AI-native end-to-end hardware innovation platform directly connects to the global manufacturing network, giving your creativity not only professional design after 90 minutes, but also a clear manufacturing path and cost budget.
Okay, so obviously I'm not from the industry, but I do love tech. So could you maybe help explain it with a few real use cases?
Yeah, of course. At JetPave, we've been building PCBs for a decade, and every single day we get all kinds of hardware orders. They may sound simple, but once you get to production, you'll always hit some pitfalls. Let me show you a real story. One of our clients wanted to build a student card. The requirements were clear. The card needed to be trackable, able to make phone calls and payment. The design itself wasn't a problem, but then the main controller chip went out of supply when we went to production. So the client had to switch to an alternative chip, and we redesigned everything. Not long after, the second batch faced another supply cut, and we had to rework it all over again. In the end, the project was delayed by several months.
And these problems, they're not caused by design. These are just problems with the supply chain.
Yeah, and here's another case. We had to design the PCB for a rotating fan. We didn't encounter any problem when we are designing, but the assembly process turned out to be way too complicated in the end. We realized that if we cut just 2 steps out of the assembly, we would save a huge amount of labor from production. It would cut our loss in half compared to the way we chose. This loss simply caused by a not thorough preparation.
One case that really stuck with me was a client who came up with a flash metal part design. On paper, the journeys looked perfect, but once it went into CNC machining and bending, the process turned out to be extremely difficult. The yield was painfully low and the cost was sky high. So we suggested, why not break it down into 2 smaller pieces and put them together? the manufacturing would become much easier and the cost would drop significantly. After hearing our suggestions, clients said they should have done it this way from the very start.
And these stories, they're not just about engineers, right? Sounds like the truth is anybody could fall into this trap across the whole chain.
Yeah, that's true. Especially for boss or a product manager. The biggest fear is this. The market is clear, the features are set, but in the end, the product just can't make it to launch.
And for engineers, this is something they hear all the time. The drawings looks perfect fine, but then the factory comes back and says, sorry, this just can't be made.
And for startups and hardware enthusiasts, it's even tougher. Every prototype board can cost tens of thousands and it still might fail.
It's the same story with factories and the supply chain. The worst thing could happen is finding out at the very end that product capacity doesn't match, or parts are out of stock. And after all that effort, every resource you've put in just goes to waste.
And that's why we built JetPave. It combines the capabilities of product managers, hardware engineers, manufacturing engineers, and project managers. It gives one person the power of a whole team and the team the vision of an ecosystem. Today, we'll start with this simple request and see how JetPave turns one sentence into a design that can actually be delivered. Here is the JetPave landing page, and I will type in to ask it, please help me generate a simple desk lamp.
Okay, and so now that's going to start and the process begins. So while this is running, I'll ask some questions, as I definitely have some, and I'm sure some of our viewers do as well. The first one will be about the AI. So it's now running, and the agents are running in parallel. So how do you control them or keep them from going off track?
Well, that's a great question. JetPave is not about a group chat with divided tasks. It's 5 agent clusters working together. Market insights, functional definition, component selection, circuit topology, and schematic design. Multiple agents run in parallel, each advancing its own task while staying aware of the others.
The key lies in JetAgent's multi-agent framework. Powered by an industry-leading dynamic incentive mechanism and OODA system, ensures that the expansion and the pruning of task nodes remain both controlled and efficient, guaranteeing the quality and the reliability of our final output.
So yeah, I guess it's not really a group chat then, right? And they're not dividing their tasks. It's a team, and they're converging towards a single goal. So what about speed then? Just how much faster is JetPave compared to humans?
Well, when we're looking at the traditional hardware design flow, once you have the idea, it takes 2 days for requirement analysis, 3 days for component selection, and another 5 days for schematic design. That would be around 10 days in total. And with JetPave's multi-agent system, in typical cases, it takes about 1 hour to start from idea to schematic. Then it would only take an extra 30 minutes to fine-tune the design. That would be 1.5 hours in total, which is much faster than the old way.
That is crazy fast. That is from 10 days down to just 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I guess my next question is, how do we avoid going back or reworking in a project?
Well, actually, we don't rely on imagined rules. We use feedback from more than 200 partner factories, 10 years of production experience. The real manufacturing data loop, in other words. JetPave only provides solutions that have been validated in real factories.
All this experience from a knowledge graph of 4 billion nodes, spanning supply chain, components, design, and manufacturing. With our multimodal cognition engine, we unify this massive knowledge into one structured hub. Every question sparks sparks intelligence, every query delivers deep, multi-hop reasoning.
And I think that's a critical point. We all know there's a lot of AI tools out there and they must give you an answer. So maybe it sounds right, but then you take it to production and it might just completely fall apart.
Well, that's not a problem with JetPave. We have 3 capabilities that map clearly onto roles. For strategic roles like bosses and product managers, step 1 is to clear up the market insights and business visibility, and turn those fuzzy ideas into product definition you can actually execute on. And for circuit engineers, it will pre-check ERC, DRC, DFM, and cut down multiple rounds of rework.
For manufacturing and the supply chain, see manufacturing ability and the supply risks during design, avoid the last-minute shortages or rework. For project managers and the factories, design and the supply are linked from the start. The delivery is faster and more reliable.
So basically, from bosses to engineers, from supply chain to factories, it seems like every role gets extended by JetPave. So I guess there's no more fighting alone.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Our principle is simple: reduce repetitive work, bring manufacturability check upfront, and reduce risk during design.
Okay, well, it all sounds great. Why don't we check back in and see if the design can actually be produced?
Well, yeah, of course, here is the JetPave page, and the agent builds a plan on its own. And then it will follow this plan step by step. For example, this time it followed a plan starting with a market insight here, then functional definition, followed by component selection, circuit topology design, and finally schematic design.
Now, that all sounds very complex, but I'm guessing this all must take a very long time to run.
Well, that would depend on the task. For very complex cases, the agent can keep running for like 200 minutes or more. But for regular tasks, it's about 90 minutes. This time, we pre-run it so you can jump straight to the result.
Okay, so what's this result? It looks like market insights, some kind of research?
Yes, this is a combined output of 4 agents: market analysis, competitor analysis, tech trend, and user need. From just one line input, it produced a full insight, including 7 modules, power consumption modes, voltage, safety, competitive product analysis, LED, and switch.
Now, this sounds like exactly something that bosses or product managers need. They need market insights and business feasibility.
Yeah, and in the past, you run service and crunch Excel for a week or 2 just to get this. Now it's ready in about 90 minutes. Next, the agent moves on to step 2, function definition, and it will produce a detailed function design report.
Okay, so for me and for the viewers, what kind of functions are we talking about?
Their module structure, technical logic, required hardware components, and system integration plan. With this, we can move on to component selection.
Okay, so step 3 is component selection, right?
Exactly, here the planning agent defines strategy. The selection agent picks under constraints, and the evaluation agent validates technical and against the supply chain risks.
Yeah, and the result is a full selection report. It includes core component list, a function mapping, cost analysis, a justification, and some alternatives.
So procurement can just use this directly.
Of course, once the engineers review it, purchasing can start. Before designing the final schematic, the agent first needs to complete circuit topology design.
Topology is done by multiplying agents, architecture plans, power, and clock domains. Module agents decompose top to down, and constraints agents check conflicts and optimize. The result here is a topology design report covering power management, motor control, heating, temperature, safety, UI, and main control modules.
This is the system blueprint.
So this isn't the schematic yet.
That's true. Topology is just the framework, then we move on to schematics.
For schematics, multi-agent works in parallel.
See the canvases multiplying? That's agent drawing in parallel. The final output is the full schematics.
So are these just pictures then?
Oh no, they are live engineering files. You can import them into KiCad. Let's try it now. Firstly, I will download the schematics from JetPave that agent generated. And now it's saved on the desktop and that's open in KiCad.
Wow, so just like that, you just download the file, open it, and now we're in KiCad.
Yes, and this is KiCad is the tool engineers use to design circuit schematics. Look, now we can edit swap out components and adjust the circuit's design.
Okay, very impressive. So up until this point, I think we've all seen just how powerful JetPave can be. My next question is, what do you think truly sets JetPave apart from the competition?
Well, that's a great question. To sum it up, the multi-agent framework of Jet agents and the AI data flywheel built on real manufacturing experience. These two core barriers create a clear gap between JetPave and generic agents. What we deliver is not just showing schematics, but truly connecting idea with manufacturing.
Now, obviously, we've seen a lot today, but still have one question. Where do you think are JetPave's boundaries right now, and how far can it really go in the future?
Well, right now, we already generate schematics with upfront checks. Next step, we would have full flow integration with layout, routing, and component procurement. Plus, we'll open plugins and SDKs to bring in more ecosystem partners.
So in other words, it's not just drawing, it's bringing market, product, design, manufacturing, and supply chain all into a single user's workflow.
Exactly. Our vision is simple. Give one person the power of a whole team and give one team the perspective of an entire ecosystem. That way, ideas turn into deliverable product faster.
All right, sounds amazing. So if someone wants to try JetPave right now, how do they do that? What should they do?
Well, that's easy. Just scan the code to apply for a beta tester account. We love more users to join us in upgrading our product.
Okay. Thank you both for joining me here today, and thank you viewers for tuning in. That concludes today's launch. If you'd like to try JetPave for yourself, please scan the QR code and apply for the beta. But for now, thanks for watching.